Has COVID got you wondering, should I do my own wedding photos? We talk about it next.
I've been thinking about this a little bit. Right now I've been playing around with writing up these like checklists of like do-it-yourself kind of stuff, you know, and ways to kind of do it and maybe just put them up on the blog or something. We'll see if that actually happens. But nevertheless, yeah, I mean, there are lots of ways to do this. So Amazon's a great tool for this kind of thing. And the reason why is because, you know, you can pick up a camera and you can return it. You always want to check the return policy, but you can get something that's a little bit better for a camera. And the two things you want to look at if you're looking at cameras is the camera itself and the lens. And in most cases, the lens is more valuable than the camera. Now, this can get very, very expensive depending on how you want to do it. But if you want to go high quality and, you know, take a little bit more time doing this, or if you know, a lot of this stuff is point and shoot. In other words, there's not a whole lot you need to know other than the fact that you just hook the lens up to the camera, turn it on, and start shooting. But the better lens you have, the better quality photo you're going to have. So that's the thing. So if you have the ability to buy and return, it's not a bad idea. I mean, you'll have a little bit of an upfront investment. I mean, to do a really good lens, like a Canon 24-70 is a very popular lens that people use. It's more of a walk-around lens, so you can kind of get, you know, it's not a close-up lens. It's not, I mean, you can get close, you can get far. It's not a telephoto or a wide-angle lens. But at the same time, it's a good, like, just kind of general overall lens. Now, it's going to run you a few $1,000s, but if there's a return policy on it where you can turn it around and return it after you're done, well, then it definitely would be worth it because the quality of your photo is going to be a bit higher. And the nice thing about that is that with Canon, they make it so easy that you can pick up like a Mark II, a Mark III, possibly, I'm not sure what the Mark series is at right now, maybe Mark IV. Or if you don't want to do anything like that, you can go into one of their other types of brands, which are, I can't think of it off the top of my head, but there are also entry-level brands that aren't as expensive that you could pick up like at Costco, or you could pick up at, you know, online, where the body of the camera might run you a couple $100s, but the lens will be more expensive. So if it were me, I'd start looking around on Amazon. I would get a camera and I would get a really nice lens, and I would hire a friend or find a friend that could take some photos and just pointing and shooting. And what I would do too is I would shoot everything fairly wide, but I would shoot it in RAW or shoot it in something where you can zoom in and you don't lose the pixelation. And the reason why you want to do this is because if you shoot it wide, but you're shooting it at a high enough resolution, you can really zoom in on that photo, and that gives you the opportunity to crop, so you don't have to worry so much about your posing, right? So let's say, for example, you want to do a family shot or a shot of the bride and groom, like you're a friend, you're trying to help them out, but you really don't know what you're doing. Shoot everything pretty wide. You know, because that way you can crop it the way you want to really frame that photo and make it look, you know, a certain way. And now you have a lot of options. The problem is if you shoot everything too tight, well, then you can only go so far, you know, on cropping it and zooming it in. But if you can give yourself enough width and if you can shoot it wide enough, then you really can, you'll have a lot more variation. As for editing, I mean, there are so many online editing sources. I mean, you could hire a freelancer to do this if you wanted to. You could go on like Upwork or Craigslist. I think there's even like, you know, software services where you can upload all that, and they have some filters they put on top of it to give the photo a different look. I think right now the big challenge is just the day of stuff. You know, how do you do this the day of? You want to have photography, like you said, but you don't have a photographer. And the other route, too, is just shooting on your iPhone, you know, and that's obviously a way of going, too. The iPhone, believe it or not, it's a great lens. It's a great camera.
Yeah, good pictures.
It definitely will get it done for sure. It has some limitation to it, but, you know, it shoots at a high enough resolution. You can do the HDR and just kind of shoot with that. You know, and as they say in our industry, the best camera is the one that you have in your hand at the time. You know, so in other words,
right.
You know, I mean, I'll never forget, like, I was shooting a first dance once, like 10 years ago, on the video side of things. The batteries, for some reason, I had a malfunction on one camera with the battery, and on the other one, the battery went out. I immediately went to my iPhone and shot with that. And then I mixed it into the footage that we had while my assistant resolved the issue, got the cameras going. So we probably missed like 30 seconds on the main cameras, but we had it on the iPhone. So we cut that in, and the client was like, "This is amazing. I love the multiple angles that you had." And I was like, "Oh,
like, great."
Yeah, it was wonderful." You know, and so it works, and you can match it up, and it'll work well. But I think on the photography side of things, if you don't want to go put any money into it, grab the iPhone, shoot everything fairly wide at a high resolution, so you can crop it in, and you know. And then, but if you want to put it invest a little bit of money, look into the return policies, make sure you can return it once you're done, but get a camera, get a really nice lens, go to town. Also, you got to think about lighting too. So you're going to be fine outside for the most part until it gets dark. After that, nothing works that well. So you need to have some sort of light on it. or flash. You can pick up flashes pretty reasonable online, or you can also pick up these like LED panels, which you can put on top of the camera, and you can just dial it up or down. And those are like $40 on Amazon. So I've gone on for a while on this, as you can tell, because I've been thinking about this a lot, like these do it yourself type things. So that was what, like, I was putting together a checklist where I had the product in the checklist, so they could just click on the links and go to what I would recommend for this kind of stuff. But it's doable for sure. It's the post-production stuff that nobody wants to do, and that's that if it were me, that's what I would hire out. Because post-production sucks. By the time you get done, like, you don't want to sit around and edit photos. It's not fun. And same thing with the video side of things. Like, you do not want to edit a video if you don't have to. So for stuff like that, if you can find a freelancer, somebody on Craigslist, or even just Upwork is a good one too. You'll find someone there who can edit your photos for you. And if you do the video side, you can edit a video too. So.
And I know you mentioned, outside daylight. What are the best times of the day to get these photos?
Well, you have golden hour, which everybody knows because it's it's the sunset and whatever. But it is true. I mean, that's a great time to shoot, and that's the time everybody wants to do it. So you might want to just check it online and see whenever that may be for your day, and try to do things around there. I will tell you also that noon is the worst time to shoot, or anything where the sun is high, because it's direct lighting. Nobody wants a cloudy day, but cloudy days are some of the best days to film because you have that nice diffusion of the light through the clouds. So it really softens it. But you don't want to shoot earlier in the day. You want to stay away from shooting around noon, 1. It's very, very hard light. But your best times are definitely about an hour or 2, before sunset. But that sunset hour is really where you want to be. But then, you got to kind of make sure you're able to get it all in within that time frame because the sun does set fast.
Give yourself some time because when you don't really know what you're doing,
yeah, exactly.
That daylight just goes.
Right, it does go. And the thing is, don't put the pressure on your friend, okay? Because this is the thing, they're helping you out. I mean, they're not going to get paid for this.
Right.
So don't be like, well, if you screw this up, it's going to be, that's it. Our friendship's over with. Like, you definitely don't want to do that. You know what I mean? It's just they're going to be helping you out as best they can. That's why I always say shoot wide. Shoot wide at a high resolution. That way you have a lot of options afterwards. Write down what it is that you want shot. Still think of it like a shot list. Because otherwise on the day of the wedding, you're going to be like scramble-brained and you got, wedding brain going on. You got like all this kind of stuff. So you definitely want to write down your shots, that way you have a list. That way you can just go, just like a photographer would, boom, 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 right? Bride and groom, bride and parents, bride and in-laws, you can just knock it all out. And that way you can just get it done. And I would also time when you're going to do this. Like, are you still going to do a first look? Get that in with your photos ahead of time, and then maybe leave cocktail hour for a few of these. And always remember that you need more time than you think you do. And that's what's important to know too. Because maybe you can't find Aunt whoever because she's in the bathroom. It's one of those things where it's like, or some kids running around you're trying to track down. I've seen this happen so many times at weddings where it's like, where's so-and-so, and everyone's standing around up there. So the thing is that, remember that you're not professionals, right? So it might take you a little bit longer to do this. And so just to keep the stress out of it, I would definitely make sure to have some sort of plan, going into the wedding day for sure.
So what do you think? Are you ready to start doing your own wedding photography? Leave a comment, let us know. Make sure to click subscribe, turn on those notifications, and click the like button. I'll see you next time.